We continue our story with Predaking wandering through the Decepticon warship, now more aware of his sentience, and even passing some of his Predacon brethren, actually informing them that they could do this as well if they really put their minds to it. But for right now, this is where he actually finds Shockwave, and he actually addresses him in one of the sweetest ways possible. Father, I have gained these new abilities. To which Shockwave says, yes, it is logical, my creation. I created you, but it was only natural that you saw your evolution, and I am proud of you. To which he says, really? To which he says, yes, I am proud of you. You have become the first among your brethren to lead them, and you may indeed lead them as you see fit. To which Predaking then, asks to be named Predaking himself. And again, Shockwave would encourage this even more. Because again, keep in mind, unlike the likes of Megatron and Starscream, Shockwave actually did implore the likes of the Predacons. I honestly think he went along with the Megatron thing, which is because he kind of just saw in like their reasoning as like logical and didn't really think otherwise. However, if Shockwave really had his own 2 cents, he would never have gone along with the likes of destroying Project Predacon. But at the Autobot base, we hear someone ranting hysterically. And it's Balerion. He's outside the base ranting at the fact that the Predacons have returned. They pretty much come back. And keep in mind, his team is listening to him and kind of just looking at each other like, oh god, his PTSD is back. But this is where someone teases him. His mate, Arachnid. She says, you know, for an all-powerful mighty dragon, you sure do complain a lot. To which he looks at her like, watch it, woman. To which she's like, what? What you gonna do? Burn me? Please, I could tie your mouth up like I normally do, and then I could have my way with you. To which Balerion's like, you didn't have to say that in front of the others. To which she's like, of course I did. Because now you're just whining and complaining about something that happened in the past instead of doing something about it. That's not the Balerion I fell in love with. That's not the Balerion I let swoop me off my feet every private moment we get. Are you not the fiercest dragon to ever exist? To which Balerion is basically stating, yeah, he is. Aren't you known as the Black Dread? Yes, I am. Get to the... Oh, exactly. You are the fiercest amongst the dragons, both existing and both dead. You have burned Predacons to ash, to molten metal. You have faced down an amped up Megatron. And now, you now have the opportunity to become far greater than what you did. You have Merlin and Morgan Le Fay's magic. And you've been more amplified than what you were before. And yet, you're going to sit here and complain because you are reminiscing about the past, instead of actually going out there and handling it yourself. To which Balerion is pretty much thinking about this. Keep in mind, Arachnid's walking around him, running her finger along his body, and simply just stating everything that she knows about him at this point. Keep in mind, again, that is her mate. They've been together for quite a while. And again, keep in mind, we're still on season 2 here. Not even close to the season 3 timeline. And funny part is, she's right. She's hitting every single nerve that needs to be hit. And so Balerion simply smiles at her and chuckles. And he says, you have a point, my mate. I've been sitting here contemplating and deliberating and ranting even, when that's not even me. I have sought to keep myself tamed for the sake of me losing myself, holding back even against foes I shouldn't. And perhaps I should have never done it to begin with. To which Arachnid is like, there we go. Now, my dear dark-scaled king, go ahead and show your queen what it's like when you unleash the beast upon your enemies. Release why they know you as the Black Dread. And so Balerion gets a smile on his face and tells Australian he's in charge of the team until he gets back. To which Balerion spreads his wings and flies off. To which Intel Ka's like, not gonna lie, y'all horny. As y'all horny as any couple I've ever seen could be. To which Arachne's like, yeah, definitely gonna get some when he comes back. I hope that he comes back anyway. To which Aruzan is like, okay, could we not talk about this right now? We could honestly go back in the base right now. I could have sworn that the Autobots had something to tell us. Right. Let's actually get back here. And this is where they go back into the base, and Smokescreen is actually pretty excited about this, ranting about a new prospect to resurrecting Cybertron and winning the war. Keep in mind, this is when Arachnid and the rest of the Team Dragon pretty much walks in, and she's like, what are you guys discussing? And this is where RC actually informs her that they found the possibility of resurrecting Cybertron via the Omega Keys. There are 4 of them. And keep in mind, Optimus likely would have got this information from Alpha Trion, like I said earlier, from the Star Saber, especially after Tiamat was gone and everything. And this is where Smokescreen's like, man, to think a chance to actually go back to Alpha Trion's archives. I could probably study some of the old goons or the old Coos files and stuff like that. But man, I wish I had something to upgrade myself with. To which this is where Bumblebee, actually understanding that, Smokescreen isn't the most amplified at the moment. Keep in mind, again, the staff from Merlion upgraded them greatly. And this is where, Bumblebee actually hands Smokescreen the phase shifter. So, yeah, Smokescreen gets the phase shifter via Bumblebee actually like, you know what? I got you, bro. And just hands it to him. Then Ratchet actually goes on a rant about what the Omega Keys could do. And Optimus also understands Balerion is in there because Arachnid pretty much informs him about it. Speaking of Balerion, he's actually flying over the sea. And he keeps going further, and further. And he's actually reminiscing every single dragon he's ever met, ever befriended, those who he cared for, that he led them, because he wasn't the strongest or the fastest, no. He was the boldest, the bravest, and the one with the most leadership qualities. But again, now he surpassed them by a great deal. And this is where he calls him out, telling him to come out now as the sea darkens. And this is where Naga reveals himself, stating that with Megatron gone now, I'm free to do my own. And let's settle this once and for all. To which Balerion simply states, I couldn't agree more. Killing you here, on your home turf, right here, right now. Let's not waste any time. And he dives at Naga at such a speed. Naga is actually taken aback. He's never seen Balerion move this fast as he smacks right into the sea serpent. And they actually get into a lock underwater where Naga wraps around him, but Balerion digs his talons right into the side, causing Naga to grab him by the throat with his jaws and toss him onto the surface. However, the claws still in him rip back into Naga's skin, scaling, just digging into his scales as he's thrown back, causing Naga immense pain. Naga tries to close in, but he's hit with a fire breath right to the face here, actually burning one of his eyes. And he's like, no, this can't be. We've always matched each other for years. To which Balerion states he made one critical mistake. He held back on him because he was a fellow sea dragon. But not anymore. I can't look at you as one of my own kin, one of my brethren that I was just simply betrayed by. No. You're gonna die. Right here, right now, whether you like it or not. And I'm going to enjoy everything. So Balerion attacks him. Utilizing the magic he has, he creates a darkened sky, blanketing, well, not the entire planet, but he very much could here. But he blankets basically the sea that they're in. And keep in mind, this is like a good majority of the Atlantic Ocean. So yeah, calling it the Black Sea would be absolutely devious right now. And so Balerion just starts just tormenting him. Every time Naga gets away, slash to the face, slash to the back, torn out the water and just thrown right back in. Fireballs descending from multiple angles. Magical chains restraining it. Balerion's coming into this magic more than he did before. He's utilizing everything from the knowledge of Merlin to the knowledge of Morgan Le Fay. Darkness and light, good and evil magic flowing within him. But he chooses to use this for good, for justice, for retribution and vengeance. He uses this magic to settle a score he should have done a long time ago. Naga can't do anything. The best he had was his physical capabilities and his water manipulation, but that means nothing. Balerion, not holding back, uses his fire breath to punch through these water barriers with so much force that there's barely any steam that comes on. Fire is so hot that it literally burns the water before it even touches it. Melts the water, or pretty much disperses the water into mist before it even makes contact. Hotter than a blue and red star combined. Balerion's fire breath tears through Naga like paper. And as Balerion pretty much bull rushes and tackles him onto a shoreline, a rocky shoreline, mind you, he stands right on Naga's body and simply tells him, "You were always going to lose. The only regret I have is not doing this sooner. But maybe now you'll understand. There's no chance for you coming back. There's no chance for you ever seeing the light of day again. I'm going to make sure everything about you is gone." To which Naga begs him, saying he can't do this. But Balerion utilizes his wing claws to position Naga's head in front of his own. And using the other one, he tears open Naga's mouth and pulls a Godzilla. And this time, with the magic amplifying it, he burns throughout all of Naga's body, incinerating him and leaving him nothing left. No bones, no cybertronian material, not even the essence of magic itself. Essentially eradicating Naga from the earth itself, from this plane of existence itself. No one would ever know Naga existed, or even know of his name or tales. The only thing he is now is but a memory only held by Balerion and the dragons. However, the fight isn't over, as Balerion does take the time to kinda, reminisce about this, finally doing something that should have been done so many years ago. He gets hit in the back with a fireball. However, it doesn't make him budge. It merely gets his attention, and he turns and gets a wide-toothy grin at the very beast he sees. Predaking, who was sent to track down Dreadwing, but he winded up finding him instead. And this is where Balerion is simply standing around the smoldering, I guess you could say, imprint of Naga at this moment. The only thing ever left of him that will be swept away by the seas and the tide. And Balerion simply sharpens the narrow edges of his wings, because keep in mind, he still has that, by the way. And he rushes right at Predaking. And this is where Predaking uses his fire breath to try and hold Balerion back, utilizing every power, every inch of him to get this done. However, it just doesn't matter. Balerion unleashes his own fire breath, his own flamethrower, more powerful and more devastating. It not only overpowers Predaking, it scorches the Predacon himself. Predaking himself tries to go on the offensive and actually tries to charge at him. However, Balerion simply dips back and flies higher, letting Predaking chase him. But again, he's faster. He's stronger. He's tougher than Predaking is. So he's able to get to the altitude a much quicker than he is. So he then makes a nosedive, utilizing his sonic emitters to create a sonic boom. You might say, why? He has magic. He could easily use the same things he did on Naga. No. Balerion wants to enjoy this. He wants to really own this. He wants Predaking to fight him with everything he has. And keep in mind, as the two ram into each other with the velocity, the downward force of the gravity as well, and the larger size difference, Balerion, when he clashes heads with Predaking gets absolutely obliterated by this charge. He's not dead or anything, but you know, he gets straight up steamrolled by it. He's taken aback, bewildered. And now, if Cybertroners can get it, I think they can get a concussion. So, yeah, Predaking is hit pretty hard in the head. And this is where Predaking, spiraling downwards, does one last desperate move. A fire clash. However, Balerion obviously saw this coming from a mile away. And he does it as well. Both of the fire breaths clash again, but this time Balerion isn't able to push through because with Predaking, he's actually able to use his fire breath to put some distance between the two. But this doesn't matter. And seeing this, Balerion drops the fire breath and simply dives right in to the collision of the flames itself. He's encoded in a fire, but again, doesn't feel it. It's too weak for him. It's too minuscule for him. And he smacks Predaking down onto the shoreline, where a wave comes and knocks Predaking further across the battlefield. And this is where Predaking finally transforms, stating, How could you be so strong? And Balerion simply stands over Predaking, now in disbelief that the Predacon has intelligence. And this makes him think for a minute. But that's not where we're going to leave off here. No. You see, we're going to head back to Decepticon Warship. You might ask, Legendary, why is that, right? But here's the thing. In the laboratory area, Knockout is simply finishing up a couple things. And simply ask, is everything meeting to your standards, Lord Shockwave? And this is where Shockwave simply states, indeed, I am ready to remove the shell of the Equal Dragon weapon? What do you mean, Legendary? No. Let's continue. So Knockout actually gets his tools out and actually begins removing the shell. And we then see Shockwave in his newest form. That being Zoshia. Yeah. I was going to hit y'all with some kind of twist in this one, but a Shockwave Zoshia, basically purple and black, right? However, before he can really, determine what he wants to do with his body, Soundwave comes in and actually shows that he's decrypted the four locations of the Omega keys. And this is where Shockwave simply states, perfect. Now let my hunt begin. And this is where Shockwave actually gives his own sinister laughter for the first time. But that's going to be all today, you guys, and peace out.